Driver profile.
Best 10 to 16-year-olds on planet Earth.
The best junior late model series in the world and the original. Do not expect to see this excitement from the imitators. This is the original, something that was a dream a decade ago.
Yeah, I've always wanted to be on something like this on TV, to be seen, to go big, so it's really valuable to me. I've seen a bunch here and I finally made it here, so I'm really proud of it.
The Junior Late Model Series is pretty valuable for my career because it's televised and one of the biggest ways to get seen and get picked up by big teams.
This series is really important to my career because it's getting my name out because of the MAV TV show.
Driver profile.
I started racing when I was 10 years old and I started in quarter midgets. And to me, it was really fun and exciting for that new chapter in my life. My dad started racing quarter midgets when he was younger, and then he kind of stopped racing, but I always went to the racetrack when I was younger with him, so that kind of made me want to race and get into it more. I started racing quarter midgets, and then I started getting more and more cars, so I got a senior Honda, and then a 160, and then an Animal and a World Formula. And then I went into micro sprints and then I raced those for a year. As I was racing the micro sprint, I got a pro truck. And so I've been racing the pro truck for 2 years. So I've been racing this season, I've been racing the junior late model and the pro truck. It's definitely prepared me to think more and be more alert on the track and be aware of my surroundings with the other drivers.
The 88 car of Cassidy Hines out of Colorado, who is in the 7th position right now and making her first start in the series, driving for Nate Clark Motorsports. Former pro truck racer at Colorado, making her debut.
My goals for this season are to really improve and get myself faster on the track and improve my driving skills with other drivers.
Cassidy Hines is under siege from Brody Amtrout.
This series is really important to my career because it's getting my name out because of the MAV TV show.
Cassidy Hines up to 3rd on the racetrack. This is probably the best run we've seen from Cassidy Hines.
Really, my goals are to make it to NASCAR. I really want to get farther in racing, and I don't know if that's going to be the Truck Series or the Xfinity Series or even the Cup Series, but those are my goals.
Cassidy Hines, the 17-year-old out of Colorado, our oldest driver and also our most experienced, runs pro trucks and Legends cars at Colorado.
I'd like to thank my parents for all of their support and all of my family that supports me and all of my sponsors.
Driver profile.
It all started out in quarter midgets when I was 5 years old. My first quarter midget race, I finished 2nd, and ever since that day, I just really wanted to just keep racing and never give up and never quit racing, because racing was just always my thing to do, and I loved racing. I raced quarter midgets for about 8 years. 2019 of March, I was awarded with the opportunity to race the number 22 Tucson Motorsports Inc. Legend car for Tucson Motorsports Inc. with Brad and Joanne Corneliuson at Tucson Speedway for the 2019 season. Had a lot of success in that, won the 2019 championship there, and that felt really good, and I was just really thankful for them. They're the ones that mostly propelled me into this legend car or late model racing. My very first time in the truck, I was about almost 14. My dad raced a Corvette from 2000 to 2010, and they had a lot of fun in that, and I just looked up to them. In fact, my crew chief on this car, TJ Clark, he was the crew chief on his car as well, which is actually kind of interesting. So really happy to have TJ on our team. He's probably one of the main reasons why we've won so many races this season. It was a few months after we got our legend car, we moved up to the Junior Late Model Series. It was June of 2019. And ever since that, we ran half the season last year. So far, 2020 was looking pretty good for us so far, and hopefully to keep that up.
Battling side by side, Bradley Erickson in his debut race
sideways
out of turn 4. He's never raced here before, and he qualified 4th.
We got a great battle between Erickson and Walbridge. Walbridge is closing down Ericsson before the last restart.
Nice lunge up through the field by the 22 of Ericsson. Ericsson trying to make a move on Seth Wise on the outside and give that lap. 51 to the 22 of Bradley Ericsson.
A winner in the 5150 Junior Late Model Series.
I just can't thank everyone else enough because this season has been great so far. Hope to keep it up.
Driver profile.
I'm Holly Clark. I'm from Colorado Springs, Colorado. I did start racing when I was 4.5 with quarter midgets. Had a lot of fun. I really persevere to my goals. I don't let anything stop me. For me, it's a lot of mental training. I think, racing is a very mental sport and you need to train for that as well as much as physically. I like to just take a deep breath and get myself in the mindset of, don't let anything get you down. You can do this.
Every extra moment I have is working on the cars every night in the garage, countless hours. Holly has tested and tested. I can't tell you the hours of testing at our local track.
I feel like, aside from just the driving itself, the best thing a race car driver can do is give the mechanic good feedback, because that's what you really need in these cars, like in really any car, because they need to know what the car is doing in detail so they know what to do. And I do sometimes help my dad, but for me it's a lot of the feedback.
The battle is between the females and the 17 cars. That black and red 17 is Holly Clark. The white, pink, and blue frame number 17 is Kersey Young out of Bakersfield. And
Yeah, we've got a couple of 17 cars in there. One of them is Holly Clark. So the young ladies, Holly Clark in the 17, and the car with the pink numbers, that is Kersey Young.
yep, both of those drivers from the Junior Late Model Challenge camp.
Holly Clark is involved in that battle.
And that's for ninth on the racetrack.
Yeah, it is. That's inside the top 10.
And Hines and Clark, a couple females in their rookie season, both from Colorado. And they'll run 9th and 10th on the racetrack.
I really think in 5 years I could be racing these late models and making a career out of this.
Driver profile.
My first experience in a race car was at the back of a parking lot, and I was 5, I believe. It was at a little mini dwarf, tiny little go-kart with a chassis, and my dad was in front of me having the red flag and green flag out, and when he'd throw the green flag, I'd go, and then when he threw the red flag, I'd hit the brakes and stop, and we just kind of kept doing that for a little bit. Then I finally was able to do my first race at Willow Springs, kind of went on from there.
Our dad did the same thing with the red and green flag. My first race at Bakersfield Speedway, it was a really fun experience being on like dirt with the little mini dwarfs. So
the 9 horsepower mini dwarfs, the first thing that we started, and that was really it. Other than that, it was just bandoleros at whatever track that we can run, mostly Kern. But
here we go again, McClenny out of the turn. Oh, whoa.
It was the second race of the season. In the first race, we had a rocker arm issue, and we ended up having to not be able to run. And then second race, first time really in the car for a race, and I was all right. We got to the final lap, and I was like, I'm racing Deegan, so it was pretty fun. She tried moving me a few times, and I was able to save it, so that was a fun experience.
Think about this, McClenny's first late model race here. How impressive.
Most of the time at home, there's a little rivalry, but out on track now. Last race, I just ended up blocking. I was slow, so I just tried to get him a top 5, his first top 5, so I was just trying to hang in there, let him go out front.
And his younger, inexperienced brother is leading him and driving away.
if he ever needs anything, I'm there out on track. Really just out there to have fun with him, trying to learn off of him.
We're gonna go out into the shop, work until probably 9, 10, and then come back inside and keep repeating.
And that's the younger of the two McClennies. Remember, he comes from Mini Cup cars, ran his first season last year in a very outdated car. His car, for all intents and purposes, came out of Noah's Ark, the car that he ran last year. And the McClennies right now, they are having a great run tonight.
It means a lot with everything that we've been working for the past 4 years out here. Finally getting him in it. It's been a struggle these last few. Dobitz Construction, Pam and Mark Dobitz have really jumped on and helped a lot this season. So we're thankful for them and just been happy to be out here, be running.
Driver profile.
I I started racing when I was 6 years old in a quarter midget at RMR in Salt Lake City, Utah. I had some wrecks that I flipped upside down, but I love the adrenaline and all the speed, so I continue to go and just live the dream that I've always dreamed of. My dad got me into it. He really put like a spirit into me, and he's been one I looked up to. My dad raced for 16 years. He won 3 championships in a row at RMR in Salt Lake City, Utah, and then he just retired so that he could follow me around and let me live my dream. And I've raced the junior Stinger, I've raced a midget, I've raced a modified, and here. It's gave me a lot of seat time, and it's gave me a lot of confidence in how I can drive a car and the difference between all of them, but it's also put together who I am and how I can drive today.
So Kylie Eath has moved back up to her original position in 10th. And you know, for Kylie, start 14th has made a bit of a move.
Yeah, I've always wanted to be on something like this on TV, to be seen, to go big, so it's really valuable to me. I've seen a bunch here and I finally made it here, so I'm really proud of it. Well, I've wanted to accomplish to either get a top 5 or a top 10, but I've got wrecked a lot or in wrecks, so I'm digging for that one today. I'm just gonna keep digging, keep pushing myself to be better. My dream is to make NASCAR and to go big, but I'm just gonna push myself and make it so I can go there, make myself out there for people to see. I just say to go for it and just live your dream. If you think you have it, just shoot it. You got it.
Driver profile.
My first race ever in a dirt outlaw go-kart, it was at Madera Speedway, and I was so excited to hit the track. There was just nothing like it, being able to compete against other kids and see how well I was against other kids, and I always wanted to be the best. The first year I ever raced was in that car, and I ended up winning a championship. Ever since then, I've always wanted to pursue in this sport, and it's something that I've dreamed of my whole life. I struggled with asphalt, and I thought I would stick with dirt for my whole life, but eventually I got a ride in an asphalt legend car from one of my buddies, and that thing just really hooked me. It was a lot like a go-kart, kind of twitchy, a lot of fun. We purchased our own modified and raced that for a couple years, and we still have that car. That car's a lot of fun. Just like 2 years ago, I think it was, we purchased a late model. When I first came here, I was probably a top 15 car, and then we came back this year with all the help from my crew, ready to rock, and have been a top 5 car pretty much all year. My mom and dad have been the biggest supporters of me, trying to give me the best and get me the farthest I can in this sport. Definitely love to get a win. I'd like to come out top 3 in points. That's going to be a big push, but I think we can do it.
Bowman loses 3rd to Cole Brown, and Cole Brown's got the outside running.
Bowman and Brown starting to trade panels and tires and all sorts of things.
But you know, Cole Brown, he's really doing quite a good job. It's only about his 4th start in the series in car 04.
That 04 of Cole Brown and Bakersfield Seth Wise. Cole Brown is starting to muscle the back of young Kersey Young.
Cole Brown trying to swoop around the outside. Who's going to lead lap number 1? It looks like it was Cole Brown. Cole Brown moved up in front of Cody Kimberly.
Hope to move up to the pros next year. I really want to get to either the NASCAR level, like up in the truck series or even Xfinity and possibly even Cup if I could make it that far. That would be my dream.
Driver profile.
Bakersfield's Kersey Young came to the Junior Late Model Series after turning heads across the Southwest in Bandoleros. Many of the top Junior Late Model drivers, such as Austin Edwards, Diesel West, Haley Deegan, and Ryan Vargas, starred in Bandoleros, and Kersey hopes to be the next to visit Victory Lane after coming out of Bandos. Kersey has some of the most asphalt experience of anyone in the Junior Late Model Series, transitioning from Junior Mini Dwarfs to Senior Mini Dwarfs to Bandoleros and into Junior Late Models. Here comes Kersey Young. Kersey Young, the points leader in Bakersfield. who has 2 wins here at Madera, sliding out turn 4. Can Kersey Young hang on and win this thing? This time around, we have 3 laps to go for Kersey. Kersey Young will be in the junior late models next year. They have a car in hand. But out of turn number 4, the girls are going to rule and the boys are going to drool as Kersey Young wins the Bando portion of the Bando versus the Mini Cups.
Yeah, this is your 3rd win this year, so it's been a great season at Madera Speedway in this car.
Yeah, it has. I mean, we were coming out here and the car wasn't perfect, but we were still fast.
Her 2018 Bandolero performances on MAV TV set the stage for high expectations in the 2019 Junior Late Model Series. Those expectations were met by some hardships as her family-run team tried to compete in the tough series. Time's running out for the leaders here with 9 to go.
Oh, Edwards is super loose as well.
And Kersey Young got a couple Bando wins last year, so talk about our ladder system working here as a couple kids from Bakersfield who came out of the small cars and man.
Kersey Young, this is a very improved Kersey Young. Even in these early laps, Stephen Blakesley looking into qualifying and practice today. Big leaps and bounds from Kersey Young this year.
Driver profile.
The first time I got in a car, I was 7. It was in a go-kart. I had a lot of fun. It was a cool experience. My dad inspired me to start racing. I grew up watching him race. My first month of being born, I was at the racetrack watching him. I went from the go-kart to the Bando. My first full season in Bando, I won a championship. The Bando, I was pretty fast and had some competition and just racing side by side with people and knowing where the car was and knowing what the car was doing helped prepare me for the junior a lot. My biggest challenge for racing this season is just making sure I don't wreck the car and finish the races because last year we only finished 2 or 3.
It is Casey Klein indeed.
And just make sure I can get through the second half and finish good.
And a tough break for the rapidly improving youngest driver in the field, Casey Klein out of Olympia, Washington.
My goals for this season are to get a couple top 5s, get a top 10 almost every race, and just try to keep the car clean and not wreck.
There's the battle between McClenny and Klein. And the career best performance from the 1K of Casey Klein. He's up to 6th. Casey Klein out of Quincy, Washington. He started out with us last year as our youngest driver. He's still one of our youngest 12-year-old driver.
They call him Cash. Casey, you've been money so far in this race, up to the 4th position here at the break. The best first half of a race for you this season. What's been the key for the strong run so far?
Well, we had a good. The Junior Late Model Series is pretty valuable for my career. Because it's televised and one of the biggest ways to get seen and get picked up by big teams.
And he is sailing past Cassidy Hines. How about it for Casey Cash? He's money on the top. He's going to go up to 3rd.
And I'd like to thank Custom Fat for building me my car, and my mom and my dad and all my crew for just helping me through the season. And next year, my ultimate goal is to get a couple wins, get top 3, and get maybe a top 5 or top 3 in the championship.
Driver profile.